Creative Pro Wrestling fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Halloween Hausen was a wild show from the Knights of Columbus in Lynbrook, New York. The event kicks off with Ryan Peterson Hausen welcoming the fans and open up the show with the mayhem medal match, which was a 5-way match for this medal. And what happened was, as the challenges were Mr. Kevin Tibbs, Cliff Marshall, the Dominican Destroyer Vargas, Vinnie Mac, not Vince McMahon, and the medal mayhem holder Jay George. And he came out with his two, crew members, assistants, and Jay George took the microphone and says, he wanted to do a take two, and he was saying about wanted the fans to cheer him, but of course he didn't get much of a reaction, and the match got underway. And Vargas, who I had seen before in the past, he really stole the show in this match and won the crowd over, and hopefully Creative Pro brings him back. Eventually, Jay George's two crew members get involved, and they end up taking some punishment. I believe the shorter guy of the two, he took a powerbomb from Vargas and basically was limp as a biscuit. Eventually, Jay George retained the Mayhem medal when he defeated Vargas, Vinnie Mac, who was also impressive, Cliff Marshall, and Kevin Tibbs. Next, it was a women's match. As we saw, The Answer to Your Prayers, Ariel and Nyx, go one-on-one with the debuting Notorious Mimi. I was glad to see Ariel and Nyx again, but I don't know if these two ladies just didn't click, but Notorious Mimi defeated Ariel and Nyx with a armbar submission hold to pick up the victory. And by the way, these first two matches, there was some trouble with the lights that were set up in each corner in one of them, and they went out just as Jay George was winning his match and the opening part of the ladies matchup. Next matchup, we saw Bryce Donovan of the Shook Crew, who came out with three guys dressed up as with masks on. I couldn't tell who they were, and as Bryce Donovan did a battle with JT Dunn, who had Trigger the OG in his corner, and it looked like Bryce Donovan, I guess, had a lot of friends and family behind me for this show. And a tremendous matchup. I'd never seen JT Dunn work as a heel before, but this was a pretty good match. JT Dunn was defeated by Bryce Donovan. I forgot what was the name of that move Bryce used to put JT Dunn away. Then we saw in tag team action Philip Cardigan and the dime piece Aaron Rourke, collectively known as Phil and Perfect, as they challenged Steven Azure and Steve Somerset, the Even Stevens, for the tag team championship. A very good matchup. Both teams like the best Even Stevens match I ever saw, and these guys really took it to each other. Eventually, I believe it was it Rourke? He took a spike pile driver on the apron, quite a sick bump from the Stevenses, and eventually one of them pinned Cardigan, and the Even Stevens retained the tag team title. Up next was a Halloween street fight, which saw Bobby Orlando of the Shook Crew do battle with Bobby Shook did battle with Carlo Vice, and as Bobby was coming to the ring, Carlos met up with him in the aisle, and they started going at it. Bobby Orlando took a sign from the crowd that said, "Bobby is my mom," which cracked up a lot of people, including myself. And Bobby broke that sign over Vice's head. Eventually, they finally get in the ring, and the bell does ring, and officially starts the match. And among things that were used were a Guitar Hero guitar, a hockey mask, cookie sheets, a kendo stick, the tombstones that were set up from Carlo's Vice District segment. At one point, Bobby was press slammed off the rope by Vice onto a chair. This one lady sitting across the room from me with blue hair, tattoos, and a CPA shirt, she gave Vice a sight for the bird watchers. Eventually, a table was set up. A door was brought into play. Vice took a death body driver through a door by Orlando. The trash can was used, trash can lid too. Vice eventually pushed Bobby off the top rope, crashing through a table onto the floor. Vice belly to belly suplexed Bobby through a board with vampire fangs that was set up on a board, and he followed that with a pedigree on a chair to win the match. And after that, they went to intermission, and it's a good thing they did, because I thought they were not going to take an intermission. Next up, they resumed the show resumed with what is pretty much a Creative Pro Wrestling tradition, the Halloween Costume Rumble. Started out with Jack Tomlinson dressed up as Spider-Man. Then someone, I do apologize for not getting his name, dressed up as Ray Dudley. And here's the order of entry from that point on. Number 3, I didn't get his name, and I apologize for that. He was dressed as Devon Dudley. Entering 4th was Dante Drago, dressed up as Ben Parker, Peter Parker's uncle. Number 5, dressed as Michael Myers, TJ3. Scotty. Number 6 was Scotty Karate, dressed as one of the Jedis from Star Wars. Number 7 was the Revolting Blob. Number 8, Pat Fitzpatrick as Vince McMahon. Number 9, Dr. J. Cool, dressed up as Ron Burgundy, which was Will Ferrell's character in the movie Anchorman. Number 10 was Liam Davis, and I don't know who he was dressed up. I apologize for that. Number 11, Mike Anthony, dressed as Ghost Killer. I apologize if I got that wrong. I know he was dressed as the villain from the Scary Movie series. Number 12 was the vegan Leo Sparrow, who was dressed up as Al Snow. Number 13 was the abominable CPA, who was supposed to be Ahmed Johnson with the red knee pads on. And number 14 was Jungle Boy, but not AEW's Jungle Boy. I don't know who who that was. The match The match was won by Dr. J. Cool, eliminating Pat Fitzpatrick. And by the way, I gotta hand it to Pat because the crowd was chanting AEW and Tony Khan, and Pat gave a crowd a look. Next up was a tag team match which saw Evil Kip and Johnny Clash do battle with Brian Myers and Dan Hausen. At one point, Hausen and Kip began the match, and Kip ended up giving Hausen a sight for the bird watchers, and Hausen grabbed his finger, and Kip says to the referee, "Do something, that's my favorite finger!" And eventually, at one point, Clash and Kip were suplexed to the point where their knees were hanging over the top rope, and Myers and Dan Hausen were standing on the apron, and Hausen's waiting for music, and all of a sudden, eventually they start playing Tequila, that song's most associated with Pee Wee Herman, and Brian Myers just wasn't in the mood to do the Pee Wee Herman deal, and they were kicking both Clash and Kip in the head. I forgot how the match ended, but Myers and Hausen did pick up the win. Originally, TJ Crawford was supposed to team with Evil Kip for this show. I wonder why he was unable to make the show. But after the match, Myers took the microphone and he announced to the crowd that they will be returning to Lynbrook on Sunday, December 12th, and I'll get back to that as I go on in this video. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then it was main event time, as we saw VSK defend the heavyweight championship against Premier athlete Tony Nese and Eric James. Tremendous match these three guys had. And I forgot how it all ended, but Eric James ended up using some kind of a DDT on VSK on the championship belt, and Eric James scored the pinfall, and Eric James defeated VSK and Tony Nese to become the new Creative Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Personal notes time. Great seeing Tommy, Sam, Joe Carson, Ryan Peterson, Tiffany. I wish Tiffany, I hope someday we'll have another picture together. We didn't get one for this show. There was, by the way, speaking of Tiffany, there was a good-looking lady sitting right next to her. There was a good-looking lady with tattoos and a CPA shirt sitting across the room from my seat. The show ended up starting late because they were going to be streaming live on Twitch, but I gotta say, Twitch sucks balls. I don't give a darn what anybody thinks. Before the show, they were playing Bobby Boris Pickett's Monster Mash on loop, and Sam, Tommy, and I, we were getting fed up, and they were chanting no more Monster Mash. I wish they could have played Ghostbusters or Thriller. Those are Halloween-related songs. And by the way, here's a memorable quote. "Sam, that was your worst chant ever." Joe Carson, when They were chatting no more Monster Mash or no Monster Mash. Big surprise, 7 o'clock arrived and they had yet to open the doors. Unless I'm mistaken, Bryce Dovin's friends and family didn't hang around for the whole show because I didn't see them when the main event rolled around. They were somewhere sitting behind me, and our side of the room was pretty lively thanks to them, and we had a 2 Club in attendance in the building as well. Well, as stated earlier, Creative Pro Wrestling returns to Lynbrook on Sunday, December 12th, as they present Happy Holidays. That's holidays spelled with a Z at the end. Already announced to appear are Creative Pro Originals, Max Caster, Smart Mark Sterling, and I don't know if it's his Creative Pro debut, but Brian Myers' former tag team partner, Matt Cardona. Even though I won't be there, I'm guessing there could be a rematch between Eric James and VSK for the Heavyweight Championship one-on-one. Be interesting to see where both Bobby Orlando and Carlo Weiss go from here. I would like well, let me see. And Ryan Peterson was like shocked to see me before the show, and he like took his glasses out to see if it was really me in front of him. I know I hadn't seen him since like May before this event. Damn. Did I go over everything here? Well, definitely Creative Pro Wrestling. You did great. My first Creative Pro Wrestling event since early 2020. Obviously, won't have a show until December, and I can't make it because I work weekends. So, Creative Pro Wrestling. Actually, although I'm hoping someday you get like a bigger place to train to have a school at in Hicksville, because we know that place in Hicksville is very small. Hopefully, you'll have a bigger place in the future to run shows at. But you definitely did well, Creative Pro Wrestling. So, I will say, Cap, can't wait to see you again in 2022. Cap, 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 Cap.